What's up, everybody? I'm back, and this is a new segment I like to call Let's Binge. So, this is going to be a new show for me when I do on the side when I have time, or there's an upcoming release of a movie that I feel like needs to be binged. So, this is sort of like what Austin and I did for our What's That Bad of the DCEU, link below. And so, since it's October and it's Halloween, I figured, why not? And there's a new movie coming out, so let's review the Halloween franchise. And these videos will be from the 1978 classic to the 2009 second movie remake. Okay, so I forgot to add this in front of my first Halloween review for this movie, so it's coming a little bit later. But I'm not using any trailer clips or clips from the movies because, well, even though I have used trailers for movies in the past, like The Greatest Showman and the DCEU, just to name a few, I got a copyright strike on my What's That Bad of the DCEU Part 2 for, I believe, Wonder Woman of all things. So, yeah, you won't see any clips from any of the movies, so instead, there will be awkward transitions with the posters, so thanks. So let's dive in and let's see what scares the boogeyman with the first Halloween. All right, so the first Halloween, as you know, classic slasher movie. It defined the genre. It's a staple of Halloween. It's a marathon each year on AMC's Fright Fest. It's played in countless theaters along with the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And yeah, it's easy to see why this movie was really good. It's not particularly scary, it's just a really good story. So, the backstory for those who don't know, it's basically in 1963, a young man named Michael Myers kills his sister and boyfriend, and it turns out that he's just a psychopath, no emotion, and kills people. So in 1978, he escapes his mental institution that he's in and tracks down Laurie Strode and kills a bunch of teenagers. So it's stereotypical slasher film, but what sets it apart from every other one is that the killer doesn't talk. This is one of the first slasher movies where the killer doesn't talk. You know, movies like A Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, and Scream, the killer talks. This one was one of the first ones that stayed silent throughout the whole movie. Even in his introduction, silent. And the opening scene where it's just the camera shot of Michael killing his sister and boyfriend is really brilliant. And just the score itself by John Carpenter is brilliant. It's not really scary, but you do like these characters enough that when they die, it's genuinely like heartbreaking. It's one of those movies where it's a teen killer movie, but you do care for the characters. Of course, this was a breakout for Jamie Lee Curtis, who would go on to play Laurie Strode in Halloween 2, H2O, Resurrection, and this new Halloween movie. And honestly, she's one of the best parts of the movie, besides maybe Michael and Dr. Loomis, played by Blofeld himself, Donald Pleasance. And I can go on about why this movie is brilliant, but if you haven't seen it, fix it. It's brilliant. Sorry. But no, Halloween from 1978, definite classic. So next up, and this is the only one I've seen. Unlike when I do Nightmare, probably later this month or next year, I've only seen at least 3 films in the franchise. I haven't seen any of the sequels to this. Haven't heard anything about them except for the 6th one has a producer's cut that's supposed to be better than the theatrical cut. But I'll find out when I see it. So next up, Halloween 2 from 1983. All right, so a bit of a correction. This movie came out in 1981, not 1983. All right, so Halloween 2 came out in 1981, and it's a direct sequel to the first Halloween movie. And when I mean direct sequel, this film literally takes place after the events of the first movie, like the minutes after. So it's basically Michael goes after Laurie in the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. Loomis tries to track down Michael, etc., etc. And this is not a good sequel, but I wouldn't say it's terrible like some people make it out to be. It's just rather boring, honestly, like, because I just really didn't care that much about anything, really. Like, unlike the first movie, like, yeah, it had some slow moments, but you cared about all the characters. This, I only really cared about Loomis and Laurie. But, yeah. Some of the deaths were hilariously bad. Like, someone got their face burnt off in a hot pool, which was stupid. Um, Michael gets shot in the eyes and just swinging around a knife at random places. That was just weird and stupid. Oh, and my personal favorites in the movie, Ben Tramer, which was built up in the first movie, dies. Just randomly dies. You see him go out, boom, and just burnt corpse. Why? Then why have him in the movie? God, that was stupid. And of course, some guy dying just because there was a pool of blood. Like, slipped, fell down on the ground, died. That's just stupid. But, again, like the first movie, Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasance, and the guy playing Michael Myers were really good. And it's rumored that John Carpenter wrote this while he drank a six-pack of Budweiser each night, and it kind of tells because no one wants to do this. They're just doing it for the money, so I really don't have to say a lot for this movie. So, Halloween 2, not good, but if you're in the mood to watch the sequel, I'll watch it. Alright, now on to Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. And that was Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Now, I want to dive into a little bit of the making of this movie because as I was watching the end of it for the credits, I found out some interesting things that I figured I want to share with you guys because I did that with Halloween 2. So, originally, this was actually John Carpenter's plan for the sequels. Just not have Michael Myers in them at all and just be anthology films. And it's also the first time where Michael Myers is not in any of the Halloween movies at all. It's a completely different story. And this movie bombed badly at the box office in 1982, and I did check this time. So, Halloween 4, when I get to that next, does have Michael Myers back in it. And the fact of the matter is, for the rest of the franchise, it is Michael Myers. So, yeah, so this movie's bad. It's not American Psycho 2 bad. I don't know how to explain it. Bad. So, as you can tell, that it's no Michael Myers. So it's basically this company called Shamrock, Silver Shamrock, sorry, creates these masks, and apparently they're bad and rot children's brains and just rots brains. And this guy gets suspicious of it when someone gets murdered in his town on his watch because he was holding a Silver Shamrock mask. This movie's weird. Not in a good way, but in a way where it's just like, this is bad. I kind of want to turn this off. But I didn't because I want to stick to the end to see if it got better. Unlike Halloween 2, I can't find anything good in this movie. Honestly, it's that bad. I mean, The only thing I could say is that it kind of looks decent from a cinematography wise, but other than that, it's awful. None of the characters are interesting. It's such a weird premise that I can't buy into it. It's lacking what the second Halloween movie had, which is, the spirit of Halloween, the fear of something coming to get you. Here it's just probably a bad metaphor for corporate greed in America and how children consume media, which it's not really there and it's not really needed because, well, Michael Myers was the epitome of evil. He was pure evil. He was the boogeyman. Here, it's just an evil company that wants to do it to kill people. It really doesn't make any sense, and it feels more like an action movie plot than, a horror movie. And one thing that actually really pissed me off about this movie, and I had to pause it for about a good solid 5 minutes, was the first Halloween movie is an actual film in this movie, which is really confusing because, well, the title is Halloween 3. So I'm so confused. If this movie was titled Season of the Witch, I would have just passed this off as just an okay horror movie. But no, like, the fact that it calls itself Halloween and has the first movie in it really doesn't make any sense. As I said, the characters are not interesting. The kills are not really creative because it's either strangling, getting hit by a car, surviving a strangling because the person got hit by a car, going to the hospital, dying because someone pokes your eyes out and you die from strangling, or the mask kills you. Or, yeah, it's a weird movie, and if you're a fan of the Michael Myers movies so far, don't watch this because it's just a waste of your time. It's not too bad, but it's bad. It's definitely missing something that the first two movies had, which was Michael Myers, because that was one of the few solid parts about Halloween 2. And the way I watched it, it said the percentage on Rotten Tomatoes, which was a 40%, which is better than, I think, a 35 for Halloween 2. Which really doesn't make any sense in the term because Halloween 2 is just an okay movie, thinking about it now. This movie is just flat out terrible. I can't tell you any of the characters' names other than Doctor and Lady. Yeah, it's so bad that the two main characters have lead names in the movie, but their Doctor and Lady is all I can remember them by. And then Evil Business Guy, an evil business guy's henchman, an evil business guy's workplace, an evil community. Where's Lori? Loomis, Michael, all those names just flat out gone to just stereotypes. But I'm done rambling on about this movie. I don't want to think about it anymore. It's awful. It's so far the worst movie in the Halloween franchise I've watched. With that said, let's return to Michael Myers in Haddonfield, Illinois with Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. So Halloween 4 is not a direct sequel to Halloween 3. Thank God. The film takes place 10 years after the events of the first film, and it follows Laurie Strode's daughter being hunted down by Michael Myers, while Dr. Loomis is coming back to catch Michael Myers before Jamie Lloyd's dead by Michael Myers. And I know that people hate this movie. I know it's not really well liked with critics, but this was a pretty well-made film. Man, I don't know, I think it's so far the best sequel I've seen so far. Donald Pleasance is great. Danielle Harris, who plays Jamie Lloyd, is fantastic. And this movie has this kid who's weird, gets bullied because her uncle's the boogeyman, and everything about that character is just brilliant. The scenes where it's just Loomis, Michael, or Jamie is beyond brilliant. I really don't have a lot of negative things to say about this movie. I just really enjoyed it. It's not as good as the first film, but it did have some genuinely creepy moments and some really good performances. So yeah, so far just watch 1, 2, and 4, or just even watch 1 and 4. So yeah, Halloween 5. Let's go. So Halloween 5 takes place right after the events of Halloween 4, as in they recap the fourth movie at the end with the twist of, spoiler alert, Jamie Lloyd killing her foster mother and wearing a clown mask like Michael Myers did in the first film. And so now Jamie Lloyd's in an institution, she can't really talk, and Michael Myers is back and kills people. And now Jamie Lloyd, for some reason, can sense when they're gonna get killed. This movie was okay. Like, the stuff that worked from the last film, like Loomis and Jamie Lloyd and Michael, worked well. The stuff with Loomis and Lloyd together was actually really cool, and it was really unique to see, which is something I liked about this movie, and I'll praise it. This stuff with Jamie in the mental institution, brilliant. But this movie was just okay. Like the second Halloween film, it's just okay. Not really bad, not really good. Just a mediocre film. And that's kind of it. This will be a 2-part video because I realized that this is going on forever. And so next video we'll start up with Halloween 6.